I just got back from Endgame, so here's a new Kirblog for you now. Okay, it is now 11:43 p.m. on the night of April 29th, 2019. I have recorded this just a few hours after the bonus Kirblog of recounting my memories of the previous Avengers, movies that you would have seen a couple days before this goes up. I'm putting this out on the merry month of Mayrvel, Saturday the 4th. Here I am. I have just gotten back from seeing Endgame, and I am now going to talk about all of the spoilers. So please, if you've not seen the movie yet, go right ahead and close this, because I do not want to ruin anything even remotely. I know that in fact, actually, some friends of mine aren't even seeing it, I think, until like after this weekend's over. So I'm not going to say, I'm not sure if I want to just say that this is the most emotionally satisfying experience I've had with a movie after a decade's long worth of other films leading up to it, but I guess I'm going to say that because I can't think of any other movies that have done that before. So yeah, wow, holy shit. I'm sure at some point down the line I will go back and find some flaws, with things, but I can't really think of any right now. I've talked before, probably many times, about how I tend to prefer the individual MCU films for their what I consider to be better usage of a message or moral of some kind, but the Avenger crossover, big everybody comes together movies tend to be more about the spectacle and just the fun, like in your face entertainment factor. That's the correct description. It's the proper one to use for this kind of shit. This one was kind of a combination of those things and something kind of different all its own. It's unusual in that, especially coming off of Kingdom Hearts 3 and the long wait for that and the kind of build up and everything. And I mean, I feel like with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm sure somebody out there that knows better would correct me, but it's interesting to me that I would bet, and I'm almost certain, maybe I've even heard this somewhere from maybe back when I did some of those Looper videos about the Marvel movies and shit, that when they were doing the early, what became the phase one of the MCU with like Iron Man 1 and 2 and Hulk and whatever else, Thor and Captain America 1, I figured that, the end goal was something like this eventually. And who knows how long from then, all the way back in fucking 2007, I guess, was when they were probably maybe even 2006 is I possibly when they were starting on Iron Man, then came out in 2008. But wow. So I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna go ahead and, well, I guess I am gonna talk about my thoughts on the individual uses of each of the main characters and everything. But I guess before that, as far as the overall scope of everything, this was not at all what I was expecting, and I'm sure that probably it wasn't in a lot of ways what a lot of people were expecting, because I think even just based on those couple trailers, which I'm very, very thankful they did not show a lot in the trailers, but it seemed like the implication was going to be the gang reunites, they go out to space, they find Thanos, they get the thing back, they use the stones, they bring everybody back, some of the characters die along the way, and set up for phase 4. And, cool, crazy action along the way. and it's hilarious to me and how well they subverted that expectation, that in the first, like, I think 5 minutes of the fucking movie they fulfill the stereotypical, like, what do you think is going to happen, and then they go there and they just fucking kill Thanos, and it's like, oh, okay. And I said at the end of my towards the end of my looking back on the other Avengers movie, Kirblog thing that I put out a couple days ago before you're seeing this, that I recorded earlier today when I'm recording this, time travel, you're used to this. Sorry, I'm very tired. I said that I was interested to see how much time they were going to spend on just the kind of human moments between everybody in the post half of the world wiped out thing. Oh, by the way, yeah, also that dead ass cold open of just Hawkeye losing his fucking family. It was like, oh, okay, thanks. I hate it, even though I love it because it's perfect. Oh God, yeah. So there's that. Yeah. I don't think anybody expected it to be a depression, worst case scenario, what happens to the planet Earth, kind of thing, followed by a, getting the band back together, Muppet movie style story, followed by a time travel story. I really wasn't expecting that, and was mildly terrified about it at first. When they started bringing it in, it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go the way of the X-Men movies, but Jesus H. Christ, they kept it. I mean, and even while making fun of this shit the whole entire way, with all of the other 700 types of time travel things that have happened in other films in the last 30 years or more. Wow. They kept everything simple and straightforward and easy to understand and relatively clean cut. I am sure people will probably find some holes punched through in there, which is fine. I would be curious to see what they are, but overall, I bought it enough to be like, okay, got it. Yes, good. All right. We're keeping it straightforward enough that it's not going to make me do mental gymnastics and what the fuck is happening in the movie at any given moment. So yeah, but from a time travel story to then ultimately the biggest and probably one of the greatest fight scene action sequences, and I can't even fathom the amount of dough that went into just the tens of maybe 100, maybe close to 100 actors with named characters of some significance in this fucking movie, like all within a single scene together. Like, wow. Yeah. So wow. Okay. Who am I gonna start with? Okay. I guess I'm just gonna pick some at random. Captain Marvel, sure. Captain Marvel, limited usage, but not in a bad way. I was glad that I was jokingly thinking to myself about how, like, oh man, she's too OP for this fucking movie, which she absolutely was, but was utilized just well enough in her OP-ness that it fit what was going on. It wasn't fucking with the stakes too much. The opening with her just wrecking Thanos' shit. And then the close to the ending where she is wrecking Thanos' ship, and the non-flinching taking the headbutt, and also that shot of her being surrounded by all the girl characters and everything was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, so great, good, just the right amount of little bit of usage, which was good. Ant-Man. Wasn't expecting how they used him. The moment of him seeing the older version of his daughter was super sweet. Probably the first moment that started making me tear up a little bit. Excuse me, Morty. I'm not editing this because I don't give a shit. I just hit play and I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but I was glad that he kind of went ahead and filled the role of, because I consider him to be like a less obnoxious, more likable version of Star-Lord in as a fixture in the MCU. I was equally kind of glad for that same reason that Star-Lord didn't have that much screen time in this movie, and Ant-Man had a lot more, and actually had a fairly important role in that he kind of gets the ball going with the time travel stuff, and then of course the thunder is stolen by Tony, but yeah, and great usage of his powers and the time travel stuff with both the Ant-Man and Giant Man things, with both forms of that, and Wasp's little quick bit at the very end was nice with her responding to Cap. And also, I don't think I'll ever get over America's ass, which came from Ant-Man's mouth. So, hooray. Let's see. Rhodey. I've come to appreciate Rhodey's moments of comedic brevity. The kind of the cold humor, I guess. Especially with just the situations he tends to be in. Most memorable moment for me was the going into the fucking temple of the Power Stone with Nebula. I'm like, this is when the Indiana Jones traps comes in. No, all right, sure, whatever. And whatever his cool new armor was towards the end there, if it was kind of like a War Machine Iron Patriot combo there, I guess. Let's see. Nebula. I really, really like Nebula now. In the Guardians movies and Infinity War, I'm like, she's cool. I like that she's an interesting, badass female villain character. We don't get very many of those, in general, not just in MCU. But this movie, and also the really interesting use of the two different timeline versions of her at different stages of her life, was inventive use, because it allowed for the same character to be portrayed as both a villain and a hero in the same story, and wasn't too complicated. They kept the also Captain America's running with himself. Pardon me. They kept the interacting with the past self stuff to be relatively clean cut and simple, and so the Nebula stuff was the most complicated that it got, and it wasn't too bad. So I was like, okay. Gamora as well. They actually kept, even though Gamora is still like, I guess I'm assuming she was playing the long game, and during the year of 2014, our year of 2014, when I first moved to California, and Thanos was doing shit, and the time was being messed with or whatever. I guess she was playing a long game and eventually plotting to still overthrow and kill Thanos anyway. So she quickly turns and is able to join the side of good, and even before Guardians show up and fix everything. But I guess that was when Guardians 1 happened, so that would have made sense. Then yes, that's right. And okay, just side note, getting away from the characters for a minute. Props in particular. I mean, props to everybody, all of the tens of thousands of people that made this movie a reality, but particularly big shout out to the probably several different people. There might have been a whole department for this, for all I fucking know, who kept track of all of the entire timeline of the MCU, like the real life timeline of what the fuck was going on at any given moment, so that they could place the characters where they needed to be at different points throughout the timeline. That's brilliant and really hard to fucking do. Like, time travel is just hard to do, and goddamn, wow, yeah. This was just so easy to follow, and still interesting, and still like had its own rules, its own kind of semi-unique rules, and stuck to them and kept them straightforward, and the fact that it cleverly used like multiple points from the previous movies that were of importance, and made them very clear as to what they were at each point in time, and gave great cameos to characters that I didn't think were gonna still be in there, and they were, like Loki. Unless he was like coming back, which is very possible. Who knows? Because he tends to do that, and he just escaped with the Tesseract somehow in that point in time. Yeah, him being thrown in there, and Red Skull got to be. Oh, that wasn't the time travel stuff, but Howard Stark showing up back in there for a little bit, and Peggy, and goddamn everybody else ever. I can't even keep track of everybody, but hoof. Yeah. So, pardon me. Yeah, wow. Thanos, sure, why not? I'm just looking at the wiki article and going down the list of all the characters ever. Thanos, small role, surprisingly small role, but well utilized again. His intro sequence establishing the bit about using the power of all six of the Infinity Stones takes a massive toll on oneself to set up for when eventually Hulk and Iron Man both do it. So that was good, and it was good to see him just get his fucking arm and head chopped off. That was neat. Made sense for his motivation to change when the crazy shit happens later on, and going from trying to fix the world to just restart it, because he's like, all right, fine, I failed. I won, and even when I won, I failed. Fuck it, I'm gonna go with something else. This is the better route. Made perfect sense. Went for a excellent final fight scene. Again, usage in tandem with Nebula and Gamora in the 2014 stuff was cool. Yeah, his big final fight scene was great, and his demise was timely and made sense, as was the case for his whole army of douchebags, including those Ebony Maw and all the other guys whose names I don't fucking remember. Yeah. God. Okay. We'll get into the. Oh no, sorry. Falcon. Well, I'll talk about Falcon with Cap, and I'll save Cap for a little bit. I'll probably mention some other characters here and there. Hawkeye. Very happy that Hawkeye got a lot of screen time. It felt like this was the most amount of screen time and attention that he got in any Marvel movie. That's probably not true, but it certainly felt like it felt like he got a lot of development in this one. I was kind of really expecting him to be the one to be sacrificed. That whole sequence of I'll talk about Natasha as well. The whole sequence of the two of them at the site of getting the Soul Stone really had me on the edge of my seat. It was like, well, here it is. Like, after Gamora, technically, here's the first major character death that we may be getting here, and the back and forth that they have with them was brilliantly directed and like choreographed and affected and everything, and how it was executed. It was so cool, and I was like, well, what is it going to be? I genuinely don't know, and I was kind of expecting it to be Hawkeye. I don't know why. It might have just been an intentional misdirect, but I bought it for a minute. I realized it does make sense for Natasha to be the one to go, because she didn't have anybody left. Her arc came to a close. I'm gonna miss her because she's great. I believe that they are doing a Black Widow movie at some point, or I think that they are talking about it or something. I could be wrong. Somebody please correct me. So I hope we will see her again in some way, shape, or form. Fucking yeah. I know it made sense because Hawkeye has the family and the kids and everybody, and so he had something to go back to fix and everything. And admittedly, when Linda Cardellini calls him on the phone and he's like, "Hun, hun," and I'm like, oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, had a lot of great moments scattered throughout. Excuse me. I was surprised about the direction they went with, of making him kind of a crazy killer guy for the 5 sad years. Guess it did make sense enough within how they went with it, but was a little shocking for a bit. Yeah, and going through that, and then him getting to fucking cart the Infinity Gauntlet around and keep that safe was nice. So no, he served his purpose really, really well, and he was a lot of fun and entertaining, and I was really rooting for him a lot. He was pretty great, and I am sad to see Black Widow go. But yeah, I hope that there will be some place for her in the future. I am really curious to see the place that they're going to go with each of these characters in the future, because I guess as we're getting into the mains, I was expecting a lot more characters to die, and the body count was surprisingly small. Obviously Thanos and his minions are all gone. For a minute, I thought, like, are they going to keep Thanos around? Is he going to be a fixture somewhere and just be real sad about life, I guess? But no, not so much. And yeah, so I guess we're getting into the others. Thor. Fat Thor was interesting and funny. I'm curious to hear what everybody else's thoughts on that decision will be. I thought it was funny. I have really grown accustomed to liking Thor as a comic character. Sorry, excuse me. They're all comic characters. Sorry. I'm as a comedic character. I'm growing to like Thor that way. Sorry, I'm just taking off my very comfortable, warm Captain America jacket. I'm so sorry that I'm not editing out all these honks, but I'm tired and stuffy and snorty, and I need more water. He was funny. I was glad he got to see Mom again. For a second, I was like absolutely stunned that, oh my God, they got Natalie Portman back. That's a fucking miracle. And then I read, oh, it was actually just through like unused footage of her. Oh, okay. And then I guess she recorded some ADR lines or something. That's still impressive that they even managed to do that. I skipped Rocket. Sorry, let me go back to Rocket. Well, actually, no, I'll talk about Rocket because he's involved with Thor stuff. Rocket and Thor is the fucking best. I love that duo so goddamn much. I don't know if that has ever, been a comic thing at all, but I super love it. It's hilarious, and I would love more of that. So with Guardians 3 happening, and I guess Thor is going to be part of that, I am so down for more of those interactions. Not that I don't also like the rest of the Guardians, but holy shit, Thor and Thor and Rocket are the lovely dynamic duo. Also, something about my favorite Rocket moment is him scurrying through the hallways of the Asgardian castle with his little holding the ether stone, the red one, whatever the fuck it is, and he's running away and scampering around. And I'm like, I love that just because it's so like realistically raccoon animated. It was great. I need water. Just letting you know I'm all live. Excuse me. I'm so sorry you have to listen to all this gross ass shit. This is I haven't done like a really like true to life stream of consciousness Kirblog. I swear to God, I'm not drunk. I don't drink. I just sound very loopy because I'm just tired and I'm been talking for 23 straight minutes. Anyway, Thor was great. I was expecting Valkyrie to kind of be handed the torch. I was also kind of expecting her to like, I don't know if she becomes the new Thor in the comics or whatever. I know that there's like Jane Foster or whatever in that. But considering the limited usage of her in general, I'm not expecting them to ever fucking do anything with that. So I don't know, but I don't know if so. I guess there probably won't be like a Thor 4, but because he'll be in Guardians 3, and Valkyrie will probably just show up in other Avengers movies or something. Who the hell knows? God, what else? Thinking of some of the other side characters. Glad Wanda got a little quick moment to be super fucking cool and just pound the shit out of Thanos in there. Bucky was very sweet. It was good to see Bucky just like kind of being generally happy and himself and not affected by the weird, crazy shit. Peter, Spider-Man Peter, because there's multiple Peters now, was adorable. Good limited usage of him. I guess Far From Home takes place after this, So I guess he's still in high school and the others are not. So, excuse me. That's gonna be interesting. Um, oh, Tilda Swinton showing back up as the ancient one. That was actually surprising, and it was good to see her again. I actually really did like her in Doctor Strange. She was a fun character. So yeah, seeing her in there was pretty cool, and making having a whole kind of heart to heart science talk conversation with Professor Hulk, which I'll get to him in a minute. That was beautiful. Yeah, her getting some fun moments, or the one moment that she has really for yeah, some of these characters were kind of limited to whatever area that they were in, but I was also glad that some of them like with the ancient one in particular, like she was just like, I already know what's going on and what you're here for and what's going to happen in the future, and I need to kind of figure some things out, and we'll just keep it simple and straightforward, and it works. And I'm like, yay, thank God. That's nice. So God, and oh yeah, like Crossbones was in there like somewhere, like in the flashback, the usage of the Hail Hydra thing was great. Loved that. What else? The Guardians, they were fine. They had just little bits in there. It was good to see like the Wakandans, Shuri, and everybody in there was cool. Okoye and all them. It was fucking awesome. Goddamn. Professor Hulk. So I guess this is a thing from the comics, which was great. Very clever, very interesting. Made sense for how the world progressed in the 5 year little time skip, and everything. Probably must have been very fun and weird and different for Mark Ruffalo. Um, and I'm glad he didn't die. Thor, I was either expecting him to die or just straight up give up his mantle, which he kind of did, and he didn't get to die. So that was fun, and they're doing something also fun with him. I'm glad that Hulk didn't die. I know we're probably never gonna get just like another straight up Hulk movie, but I am glad that Hulk is still around and will hopefully be around for a while. For however long Mark Ruffalo is going to keep doing it. So that was cool. And yeah, he was hilarious. The couple little vague comments that I've seen from people without somehow I managed to avoid 4 days of not being spoiled by anything, which was amazing. So good shout outs to all of my friends and people that I follow on social media who kept their fucking mouths shut. That was nice. But I did see some people, Martin actually, who's a big Hulk fan, was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that like Hulk got like a lot of cool stuff to do in this one," which was nice. Which I agree, because Hulk's a great character. Mark Ruffalo's a great actor for him, and he did a great job. So that was nice. I'm gonna save Cap for last. Let's talk about Tony. Everything they did with Tony was intriguing and cool, and really got to me. The opening with him being stuck in space. Thank God for Captain Marvel saving the fucking day. Seeing him all like emaciated and like broken was really not cool, but like really intriguing to see that, and him all fucked up and everything and sad, and then him moving on because he was lucky and Pepper was one of the ones that survived, and he has his little Morgan who was adorable and etc. And that was the misdirect that got me to fucking believe that he wasn't going to die. And as well as Pepper showing up at the end as rescue, I guess, if I know my Iron Man correctly, was great. And yeah, and then him being one step ahead of everybody else of trying to figure out some time travel shit and helping to formulate the plan and everything, great. The disguising himself as one of his own security guards at the tower, hilarious. And then fucking God, I'm trying to like recount the whole movie in my brain right now. Returning back home, the big final battle, and of course, I am Iron Man. Real good fucking full circle to the first movie. Which, speaking of which, I had to look this up later. I guess, excuse me, I didn't know necessarily what the clanging was at the end of the post credit scene that we didn't get, which I'll talk about that in a minute. I guess apparently it's supposed to be a throwback to when Tony is crafting the first Iron Man suit, in the prison camp that he's in or whatever, which was also a cute throwback. Liked that. Yeah, and yeah, he was great. I was already bracing for Tony to die. I had a moment thinking in there that it wasn't going to happen, but I was already bracing for it. He went out, I think, as well as he could have. It was pretty perfect. And similarly, in a different way, Cap. Let's talk about Cap. So I loved Cap being the moral center and still kind of, despite everything, staying as he was. He was like, nope, I'm good. I am okay as I am. I am all right. And I'm going to continue forward. I'm going to continue to try to change things. And then this opportunity presents itself and he tries. But as a person and as the leader, he is still he's still the pillar. He still maintains the sense of self and, puts on that, leader face. Him getting to say Avengers Assemble at the end was really fucking badass as well. Sorry, maybe I will try to edit some of these gross shit out. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I loved everything he got to do. Yeah, like I mentioned a couple of his moments already. Fighting his past self for a second was hilarious. And the seeing Peggy in the past got to me a little bit. Him getting to dance with Peggy got to me a lot of bit. And his part of the final battle and just leading everybody in. When he started going back in time, I already kind of was piecing together several things in my head. I had a feeling he was going to pull and then I lived out the rest of my life and I became an old man thing. I figured we were going to get something like that. As soon as they were like, hey guys, something's over there. And I'm like, yep, they're going to cut to him and he's over there. And then fucking as soon as Bucky was like, hey, Falcon, go talk to him. Speaking of Falcon, I'm like, well, he's going to hand over the torch to Falcon. He's going to be Captain America. And he was. Yeah, I kind of called that. I was hoping it was going to be Falcon and not Bucky. I know a lot of people were thinking it was going to be Bucky, but I'm glad that Bucky will stay as Winter Soldier. Because Falcon deserved to get some more cool shit for himself, so I'm glad he's going to be Cap now. And I wasn't expecting them to end and like really, really end the film with the Cap stuff. I was expecting it to be but then again, I guess it made sense because they ended on, they finished up all the stuff with Tony already with the funeral, which that last shot of like everybody, because okay, going back for a second, the fight scene. Just the moment of like everyone is here, fucking Smash Ultimate ass shit of just like all of the major characters come together and they all are here and blah blah blah. It was like this is the fucking greatest thing ever, guys. Was awesome, but also that sweeping shot of like all of the main characters and all of their like family and loved ones at the Tony funeral. That is a work of art, that camera angle right there. That entire like sweeping shot of everybody and then ending in Nick Fury at the end was fucking outstanding. It was so good. What the fuck was I saying? Yeah, but I guess that made sense for it to end there. And by the way, also sorry, Happy Hogan's little cheeseburger. I'm gonna get you all the cheeseburgers you ever want, Morgan. That was another moment that got to me. Yeah, that made sense to end his stuff there, and then we had the 7 other endings afterward. But yeah, I was well. I guess if it wasn't going to be Iron Man, it was going to be Cap to end on, and they really did end on it. And then we just get this like beautiful credit sequence of all the major players, all the characters of major significance, and then the six main Avengers and their signatures by their actors and everything. And goddamn, wow, this movie's a fucking masterpiece. Um, I think it does hold up on its own. I would have to rewatch it by itself, maybe not attached to Infinity War, just to kind of gauge it a little bit better and not in the frame of mind that I'm at right now, where like I'm just off the heels of rewatching a bunch of Avengers films and really being invested in remembering a bunch of shit for me to judge if it holds up on its own. But I will say, as far as a conclusion to a 10-year run of really fucking solid superhero movies that I have watched every single one of since 2008, I don't think I could have possibly been more satisfied. I can't think of anything that was left unresolved or not touched on or whatever. I was I was expecting something with Loki at the end. I was expecting some kind of setup for Phase 4 in some way, shape, or form. I don't mind that there wasn't one. Anything that isn't coming to mind, or any of the stuff that is coming to mind, doesn't bother me, and I can't think of anything else. This is about as perfect as I could have possibly fucking asked it to be. Just everything, every moment, excuse me, was brilliant. Wow. The future, I don't know. I might do a Kirblog about that. If not next time, at some point down the line. My theory though, because I think all we have confirmed, as far as I know, are Spider-Man: Far From Home, Guardians 3. I think, again, I believe they're doing a Black Widow movie, or they're talking about it. I think they did confirm another Black Panther movie, which I'm down for. I am suspecting that at Comic Con, after, which I believe will be after Far From Home goes to theaters. I think that at San Diego Comic Con, excuse me, in over the summer, I think that they'll talk more in depth about Phase 4. I know it'll be a while before we get X-Men or any of the new stuff that they got from the Fox merger and all that shit. But I'm sure they got plenty to work with. It's going to be a fun ride. But this was a fun ride. This whole thing was goddamn brilliant. I'm fully emotionally fulfilled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that's going to do it for me. That's about all I've got to say. So, thanks. It's the month of Mayrvel. So, yeah, we'll see. If I don't have Kirblog on, my thoughts of the next bits of Marvel stuff or whatever, then I guess then after that it will be a review of Detective Pikachu or something. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, yeah. Thanks, everybody. And since this is the spoiler talk zone, leave your comments about what you thought of the movie. And, yeah, etc. I got nothing else. I'm going to go sleep now. Thanks, everybody. Bye.